Good morning. The conversation continues here on the Morning Crossfire. Abutu Yaro still is my guest, former Assistant Inspector General of Police. Sir, thank you for staying on the line for us.
Thank you.
All right. Before we go any further, we're reminded that you can make contributions using the WhatsApp number 0809 I'm sure you've been following the conversation. How do you rate the local government elections that was held over the weekend? Some say, well, it was quite peaceful. We didn't have the presence of police officers as many elections usually go to ensure that things go on smoothly. And regardless of that, it was quiet and no violence was heard. And for some, should we begin to now question the presence of the police during elections? Or is there another way we can do this? Let us know what your thoughts are. Very simple 0809 My guest has shared his views on it, says the truism and the logic. These two things interchange. You never could tell. Logically could make sense, but the truth might not be as correct as the logic, or the logic might not be as correct as the truth. Coming back to you now, sir, quickly, you were addressing the concerns of well, the order that comes and whether police officers can question those orders. And you said there are ways that that can be done, but can we rule away the fact that you could do that and first see a transfer the next day, or they change your team or your squad? I don't know how it works. I've never been a police officer, but I'm sure you get the idea of what I'm trying to say. Maybe because or they put you in a position where you don't really do much, just as a form of West. We can't dismiss you for that, but then we can in stylishly make you understand that, well, this your attitude is why you are facing what you're facing, or why you are where you are at the moment. Does that happen within the police force? Could that also be a reason why many police officers just follow the orders as they come and not try to make suggestions, because maybe they feel even if they make suggestions, the authorities from above would not listen, would still insist on doing what they want to do?
Thank you very much. You seems to. Are you there?
Yes.
You have to have a broader perspective of this issue. For example, you have to be conscious of the kind of inquiry you make, particularly when you said you have an interface with some police officers' friend. It depends on the cadre. We are talking within the parameter of grand strategic level of policing.
Yes.
We are not talking about the routine level or the tactical level or the operational level. We are talking about strategic level, which is the policy decision making and refinement, and which is more key. Because you were talking about leadership of police, giving order. That is the strategic level. If you are making inquiry with respect to this kind of situation, you are not supposed to make your inquiry, direct your inquiry to the operational or tactical policemen. Those ones are not in the policy making organ of the police. I thought the question you were asking me with respect to policy, operational policy direction, not operational method.
No, beyond policy, the question is basically the ground. Okay, for lack of a better word, in the police, those who carry out the orders or execute the policies after they've been made. Let's say, for instance, in Rivers State, we need police officers to go to the secretariats and barricade the secretariats. All right. Now, let's say, for instance, reasons were given why police officers have to do that. Now, those court judgments have come, those things have been resolved, and then many expect that, okay, the reason why we were sent here was for these court orders, and now we are here. And let's say that police officer standing there, they know that they are standing there, well, doesn't really make too much sense if they are looking at what is right and what is wrong and what is in front of them. Do they have a say to say, sir, this place you are sending us to, looking at this and that and that, do they have that say?
The cadre you are referring to are the operational tools of the force, just like any organization.
Yeah.
Those ones don't have a say with respect to the validity, legality, rationality, or illogicality of orders and directives. Those who I believe that this discussion is supposed to be directed with respect to the higher echelon, from the commissioner of police level and above. These are where they take direct, tactical, and serious decisions. With respect to the junior ones who move around and do certain things, you are not supposed to, expect them to say yes and no. And it's not only in the police, even in the routine civil service or else even corporate entity. You follow the chain of command as organized to answer question and, obey order. With respect to the security conundrum surrounding the local government election in Rivers State, you are not supposed to direct any question to the field policemen moving around. Certainly, I thought our conversation with respect was in respect of the police authorities that took
it is in respect of the police authorities from the ground to the top.
That's why I'm saying that
we understand which levels and where.
Have the exclusive preserve to give policy alternative to whoever is giving them order with respect to any particular matter. That is the point. When I say policy alternative, I'm not saying disobedience. Policy alternative means whatever facts you see that are of existential relevance to that order they give you, you have to furnish your boss so that your boss' focus as he's giving that order will become more enhanced, and the orders will have a precise and logical and lawful executory purpose. That's the point I'm making.
Okay. Now there are those that also had a few things to say about the police not providing security and being part of the elections. Let me just highlight.
I want you to understand one thing. No. I want us to answer this question very clearly so that listeners, when they are coming in with their contributions, they will be more guided.
Understand.
Look, I want you particularly the press, we have to let our country people know one thing. There's nowhere in this world that election must be under police scrutiny or election guide. It's only that we Nigerians, what is in our mind is exceptionally out of the range of logical happening elsewhere. If you watch television channels, do you also see election being conducted in the UK, in the US? Do you see armed policemen carrying guns standing there? Is it not the same election? We used to see election in India and in Pakistan. The kind of combative police engagement which we used to canvass here. Do you normally see it? I think something must be wrong with us as Nigerians.
Is it also possible that
to follow election bumper to bumper to make election to be a valid affair?
Mr. Yaro, is it possible that Nigerians are only reacting this way because over the years they have always, it's almost a tradition to see that way
for a long time, and I'm trying to give a wider perspective so that we can have a refined approach to it. Have patience to listen. Have patience to listen. There's no law that says that police must be carrying gun to follow electorate or materials because before election is done. Only that in Nigeria, whatever human device that is known to human civilization, we concoct our own ways of doing it in ways and manner that actually confound observers. Hello?
Yes, go on.
So we shouldn't be encouraging or expecting a situation that because we are doing election, it must become a police operational affair. In other countries, they do election. Even in third world countries, our own mindset, the way it is, we do it. Is it the same thing they do there? So I wouldn't like this perspective to be ingrained in our mindset that election must be conducted in a police combat fashion, in a police security fashion. It doesn't mean to be so. Election is part of normal democratic process that does not require to be militarized or policed heavily or using a lot of security and law enforcement platform to do it. So we must be able to elect ourselves, our leaders, our people in most peaceful manner without serious police deployment. And that is the template that is played in all over the world, even in third world countries, even in other countries in West Africa. That's the point I'm making. So police presence or absence, to me, does not really add up. And we should not be emphasizing that much in our political or democratic journey. That is the point I'm making.
Well said. From what you've said, it's quite understood because many people would have different opinions to it, and like I was trying to emphasize, perhaps it is because it has become a normal thing technically that we've been doing over the years during elections in the country, and many have now seen it as okay, this is the way it is in this country. The police are usually part of the process, hence the reason why some questioned, oh, why is the police not going to be part of this? And for many others, perhaps if not for that court order which the police obeyed, we might have also still seen police presence at some of the polling units across the state during that election. And many people would not have been hearing what you're saying now that we don't really necessarily need it. We can also still do an election without having heavy police security presence before people come out to cast their votes or transport voting materials. But that said, and thank you very much for making that clarity, how does the police go about investigating allegations of electoral malpractice? I'll give an example because in the course of the local government elections, there were reports in some of the polling units we visited. Remember, one is the NUJ Center in Falga. And then a particular police officer's name was mentioned, and they said, "Oh, this person came." For to the best of our knowledge, we would say perhaps these people dressed in police uniform because we haven't gotten any official statement from the police. But from your experience, when these allegations are made, what steps would you say the police should take to see that it is addressed and that they gain the confidence of the people on their side to say the police does not involve or cannot do this?
You see, hello, are you there?
Yes, go on. We can hear you.
I want us to understand one thing. Whether there is an election going on or not, if a policeman or an unauthorized person take certain illicit actions, the same criminal code prevails. The same, it doesn't require any more special procedure because an illegality or criminality is criminality. The problem we have in our country is this: when people commit crime, we tag some crimes as electoral crime. And when it happens and the police are investigating it, even we who complain, even we who are victims, our approach to following up becomes lackluster because we tend to see criminality that is executed in a season of election as an abstract criminality, which is not supposed to be so. The point I'm making is that if election is going on at Obiakpo now, and somebody who's not an authorized person come there and conduct himself in a breach of the law or public safety standard, is supposed to be taken on as either as even as criminal trespass or conduct likely to cause a breach of the peace, which is still defined and clearly stipulated with punishment in the criminal code. But in our country, not only in River State, once anybody manifests any form of criminality during the election process, we just tag it as if election criminality. And then by so doing, we don't even attach treatment of importance to it in terms of following it up, prosecuting it, and getting feedback. So, and that is one of the drawbacks of our behavior that is actually affecting standard law enforcement in our country. To me, any crime committed at any time is a crime, whether it's on Christmas Day, whether it's inside the church or inside the police station or inside the mosque or inside market. Crime is crime, in spite of the season of events that is prevailing. So the point you ask about the lapses you observe, certainly just like any other criminality, appropriate report should be filed to the nearest police station. The nearest police station will transfer the file to the state CID, and then they will articulate the normal investigative procedure and prosecution. If it is a policeman that was involved or that got involved in outlaw or criminality, certainly the law will be invoked. But the problem we also have in our country, not only in River State, and I have to tell you with insight or practical experience, that whatever breaches that takes place during an electoral event, I call it event, once it's reported or is noted, both the plaintiff, the defense, or the litigant, once the election is over, they lose interest on prevailing infractions that were reported. They don't attach importance to it as they do to crime that took place during off-season, or when there's no election, or when it's election off-season. These are issues that calls for concern, both on the part of we, the ordinary voters, both on the part of we who are law enforcement managers, and both on the part of we who are the policy influencer and the media in our country. So that matter is there's no other special procedure than reporting it like another criminal infraction. That is the substance of these narratives.
All right, well said. Let's now go over to the phone lines and take a few contributions. We'll also look at messages on WhatsApp. We have several of them coming in as well, so we get you to respond to it before we wrap things up on the show. 0817-923 0002. Again, 0817-923 0002. You can also call 0817-923 0007. You've been following the conversation. You've heard my guests give some very beautiful insight into some of the questions that have been asked him, well articulated. But what are your thoughts? That's what we want to find out. I'm sure you have questions as well. Try to keep it very short. Let's see how much we can accommodate. Jude in Omuma, we'll start with you. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. What happened on Saturday did not need police presence. Although we know that the duty of the police is to maintain law and order. But on Saturday, since there was no contest, and there was nothing like people quarreling, fighting, and all that. So that's why I said it didn't need the police presence. Everybody tell you it was peaceful. But the people really contest? No. I am telling you that people did not contest. We were deceived, telling us that people were going to contest, but they didn't. So the police presence was not needed in a way. They knew, and that's why they say they can do it without the police, because the list that was written was what was announced on every ground.
All right, Jude, I'll need to step in and correct you there when you said the list that was written, because we don't have any proof of any list being written. You do not. No, hold on, Jude, you do not. Jude, if you do have...
I was in many places myself.
Jude, listen to me.
I'm telling you that in my own local government, my own community, I was there. People gathered in his compound. And the list that
whose compound did people gather, Jude? Which person's compound in your community did people gather?
I mean, the now local government chairman that has announced regional promise or whatever.
People gathered in his compound, and you saw them writing results in his compound.
It was already there was no result written. It was the same thing that the list that was already made up. They just announced.
Did you see the list?
And I know that's what happened in many local governments.
No, Jude, it's not that you know. This is what I'm trying to say every time we call on the show. I'm trying to get us to understand. You don't just come and then make claims and say things that you cannot substantiate. Please. All right? We will not allow that. I'm asking you some critical questions to back up what you're saying, but you still are not giving us facts to back up what you're saying. Robin Ichie, good morning.
Good morning to you, Femi Andrew, and greeting to our amiable guest. Each time Abutu Yaro is on air, it's always a time to listen. I don't know whether the Nigerian police are not listening to him to even bring him back to help them out. Having said so, Jude, I want to refer us to Chapter 2 of Nigerian Constitution as amended, 1999 as amended. It says that is the fundamental and directive principles of state policy. Section 13 clearly says it shall be the duty and responsibility of all organs of government and of all authorities and persons exercising legislative, executive, or judicial powers to conform to, observe, and apply the provisions of this chapter of this constitution. In 14, sub 2, A, B, C. I'll be very brief. 2, it says it is hereby accordingly declared that sovereignty belongs to the people of Nigeria, from whom government through this constitution derives all its powers and authority. B, the security and welfare of the people shall be the paramount purpose of government. And let me leave it there. If this is the constitution, why will Nigerian police, led by Abutu, telling Nigeria that the legal department advised them not to participate in an election in Nigeria or a state election, wherein that is their primary duty?
All right.
Let Abutu throw light on that.
He would respond to that. I'm sure it's well noted. We'll take one more call, unfortunately, quickly. Let's go to Muriel in Okrika, and then we'll get to my guest. Muriel, good morning.
Hi, Kemi, good morning.
Yes, good morning.
This is Dr. Kabuman. Kemi, I really want to thank the guest for clearing the air that the police presence does. We don't need the police presence in the way conducting elections. It's not their constitutional duty. But recently, and for a long time, we've been hearing the federal government deploy 50 policemen to a dome for elections. This is saying that the police are doing illegal job that they are not supposed to do, and they have been doing it over these years. And this also said the police we all know that they have a constitutional duty to ensure that irrespective of the time, whether it's Christmas season, whether it's any time, they have to clamp down on crime, Now, the people of River said that, okay, you're not coming to conduct any election for us. Come and carry out your constitutional duty of clamping down on crime and criminality. Then they refuse. But it says this job they should do at every point in time. It's not a contradiction. And I want to ask him again, is it a constitutional right and duty of the police to close down a local government council? Is it a constitutional duty or that illegality?
All right, Muriel.
So can the people thank you, Jenny.
All right, thank you. So I'll get to my guest so we get his response to these two questions. I'll start with the first one. Mr. Yaro, I'm sure you heard the first one with regards to the court order and then sections of the Constitution where it's the duty of the police, fundamental right and business of the police to ensure security. The caller was asking, so how come then they were saying that they were advised by the legal department of the police not to do that job in the course of an election?
Thank you very much. I want to remind ourselves in this way. Now, like as I said before, elections supposed to be a normal political event in any country, in any state, or in any environment. It does not really call for a heightened police deployment, except, of course, we the people have some other conjectures associated with election. We are part of this world, and the world has become a global village. We've seen elections being held in many countries, even in Africa. The second most populous country to us, after us in Africa, Ethiopia, is Ethiopia. Anytime there's an election in Ethiopia, you don't see media hype or security hype as we have in our country. The third most populous country in Africa, after Nigeria, is Egypt. After Ethiopia is Egypt. Routine election in Egypt does not call for the kind of security build-up or police build-up.
We have few seconds left, Mr. Yaro, if you can quickly get to the point. Very few seconds left.
I want to get... Hello?
Yes.
I want to give a perspective. I don't want to be answering questions as being prosecuted.
If your call Here on the morning crossfire, my guest Abutu Yaro is still with us via telephone. We have a few minutes left, so I'll just go back to him so he concludes with his response to the question we had before the break. Mr. Yaro, thank you for staying on the line. Hello, sir. You can hear me?
Very loud and clear.
All right, so you can continue. Yes, you were trying to give an analogy.
Like as I was telling you,
yes,
the context of our conversation should not be pinned down to a kind of a monosyllabic answer. It will not. We are trying to generate ideas that will help us manage our society perfectly. We are trying to give expressions that will even serve as broader answer to other questions that has not arisen. And we are trying to take a template to, increase our mindset with respect to the peculiarity of the situation in our country and in our state. And I want to implore you to be patient. The essence of what we are saying is that we know election, we have been doing it, situations are coming up. And in spite of the fact that we have been doing it in certain ways, we are now being concerned with increasing our sensitivity by saying that what we have been doing this long, is that the right way to continue in the days ahead? What we have been doing this long, arising from the challenges, the complaints, and the inconveniences being generated, can we continue this way? And that is why, based on that mindset, I am saying, as a new template, we should have this mindset to know that police heightened engagement in the election is not a sine qua non to democratic purity. That's the point I'm saying. The democratic purity is a function of the mindset of we, the people of Nigeria, the people of the state, or the people of the local government. If our mindset is amenable to decent control, both at the leadership, the followership, and the advisory groups, certainly we are not supposed to have heightened security deployment at election. One of the last speakers mentioned,
we are
35,000 people policemen going for a election. It's still within the parameter of what I'm saying. It is not supposed to be so. It is not supposed to be so. It's only in Nigeria that we are having this kind of developing security platform, which is not the ideal thing. And it is getting to time for us to filter it out, to slow it down, to have a better way of conducting our election without heightened security, without proclivity of violence, without proclivity of fraud, without proclivity of gadfly, and godfathers. That's the point I'm making.
All right, it's well noted, but we have to wrap it up here now.
Any security for election.
All right, we have to take we have to go for the news now. Thank you very much for your time. We'll do this again another time. Thank you once more. My name is Ifeami Andrew. Time for the news at 9.
And now we'll bring you news from around the world.